Breaking news, the Seattle Seahawks have fired offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after one season with the organization. Welcome in to this special edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. The news coming just moments ago from ESPN's Adam Schefter, who put this out. Seahawks fired offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after one season per sources. And when you look at the way this offense looked, this was an easy decision for Seattle. This had to happen. They really had no choice. As you look at this Seahawks offense, and there was just so many missed opportunities for this team, and there's two reasons why Grubb was fired. Number one, the ineffectiveness of the offensive line. Now, granted, he was dealt a tough hand with the personnel that he was given when it comes to the offensive line. But Ryan Grubb brought in his own offensive line coach, Scott Huff, from the University of Washington with him. The idea was that they were going to work together to develop these offensive linemen, that they were going to be a good fit for what Seattle wanted to do, and that ultimately didn't happen. Anthony Bradford didn't do anything. Christian Haynes didn't do anything this season. Those offensive linemen did not take the right steps for growth, were not coached up properly under the scheme and the process that Ryan Grubb and Scott Huff put in front of him. That's number one. The other reason was his refusal to run the football. And this was a pain for Seahawk fans all season long of just simply not committing to the run ever this season. And we have said it a number of times. You cannot win in the National Football League without running the football. And Ryan Grubb, too many times throughout the season, would just get away from the run, give up from it entirely, and he paid the price ultimately in the results on the field and in losing his job. Those are the two reasons why he's gone. Did the Seahawks make the right call to fire Ryan Grubb here? Let us know what you think. It's our pinned comment today. Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seattle Seahawks Today, as we are covering this offseason like no one else is. The offseason officially started today, and we're going to be all over this OC search. Just because the games are over on the football field, just because we don't have any watch parties anymore, does not mean we are going anywhere, folks. We're going to continue to bring you our daily news and rumors. We got a live show. A new Monday live show debuting later this afternoon at 2 o'clock Pacific time. You guys need to make sure and be here for that. We'll continue to cover this team like no one else is. Let's get at least 50 subs off today's video. If you're excited about the offseason, you want to stay up to date on this OC search, subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. All right, let's go over some numbers here for you. Let's start off with some pretty telling stats for just how bad it went for Ryan Grubb. I have always been of the belief that when you start a football game, that you should have an opening script. You should have a script that your offense has laid out, that you are in a routine, that you're ready to go from the jump, that says this is how we're going to attack a defense, that opening series. And in every game this season, all 17 games, the Seahawks did not have a single opening drive touchdown with Ryan Grubb as their offensive coordinator. What that tells me, not only do you have the slow starts to every game this season, but that tells me that Ryan Grubb never had this team prepared, not once this season, for that opening drive. That is a major red flag. How can you be successful as an offensive coordinator if you don't have your guys ready to go from the very jump at the start of the football game? You look at the offensive rankings for this team this year. They were 18th in points per game at 22.1 points per game. Yards per game, 14th at 332.2 yards per game. Passing yards per game, top 10, 8th in the league at 236.5. But here you go, folks. 29th in the NFL in rushing yards per game at 95.7 and 21st in third down conversions. They were also 21st in fourth down conversions as well at 37.62%. Bottom line, this offense was mid as hell. They weren't bad, but they weren't good either. They were mid. And the disappointing part about it all, folks, they had the talent to be better. JSN was fantastic this season. You had DK there, Tyler Lockett. You had some really good receivers. You had some really good young running backs with Charbonnet and K9. Noah Fant, A.J. Barner at the tight end spots. You had the players for this offense to be lethal, and it simply wasn't. Now, the O-line, I will say, was not all of Ryan Grubb's fault. In fact, I would actually argue the majority was not his fault. He was dealt a tough hand with the personnel that John Schneider gave him to deal with. But he still did not develop those guys, and none of them took the steps forward that they needed to. In all reality, I do think Ryan Grubb is a good offensive mind. I think he's a good coach. But there are some coaches that are just not cut out for the National Football League, that are better suited to coach in college. I think a great example is Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian is one of the best coaches in college football right now, doing a great job at the University of Texas. They got a chance to compete for a national championship this year. You know what happened to him when he was the offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons? It was a disaster. He was a terrible NFL OC. I'm not saying that Ryan Grubb can't be successful, that he can't be a college head coach one day. But for damn sure, he has no business in the National Football League. He does not belong in the NFL, simply put. And think about this. We talk about his lack of running the football. The Seattle Seahawks offense rush play percentage was 37.18%, 28th best in the NFL. What have we said time and time again on this program? I'm going to say it one more time here, folks. Say it with me. Run the damn ball. You cannot be successful in the National Football League if you do not run the football. Ryan Grubb never got that moment, that point. Look, it's not Washington. It's not the Pac-12. You got to run the football in the National Football League. You have to find ways to make it work. And Ryan Grubb not only refused to run the football, but even when he did so, when they did run it, they never ran it effectively. And that is why he does not have a job right now. What is your one-word reaction to the Seahawks firing Ryan Grubb? I'll give you my one word in a moment. We're also going to talk about some potential replacement options in a bit as well, but want to hear from you guys first way in the comments section. Let us know. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's going to be one you don't want to pass up on. They also have, folks, get this, your customized spot where you get to get the seat you really want. And it's real simple with Game Time. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not. And then you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. I have had a lot of success with Game Time, seeing my favorite teams, and at a last-minute decision, too. There's been a number of times where I decided on a whim, you know what? I want to get a ticket to the game tonight, and Game Time saved me money waiting till the last minute. That's one of the great things that they have with Game Time. And if you download the Game Time app, you can create an account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. My one-word reaction is necessary. This was a necessary move that the Seattle Seahawks needed to make. There are guys that could do a lot better than Ryan Grubb with this offense. And it was one of those deals where Ryan Grubb, I think, although the offense wasn't bad this year, there was so much left on the table of what it really could have been. It felt empty of sorts. And so now, with that said, where do you go from here? I'm going to have a full list later on of potential candidates, but just kind of thinking through some names pretty quickly. I expect Doug Pederson to be let go as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. sometime either today or tomorrow. And Dougie P is one of the best offensive minds in football, former OC for the Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid, won a Super Bowl as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he would be a name to watch. Another name that almost got this job last year, Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator at The Ohio State. They got a chance to compete for a national championship. That Ohio State offense is fantastic this year. He's also got NFL experience, of course, former head coach for the Niners as well as the Philadelphia Eagles. Another name with NFL ties, Eric Bieniemy, is available. Just left UCLA as their offensive coordinator, former OC with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington Commanders. Another name within the division to keep an eye on that's certainly getting traction across the NFL is Brian Griese, the quarterback coach for the San Francisco 49ers and longtime college football and NFL analyst with ESPN. Of course, his dad is Bob Griese. He played in the NFL. He's actually set to interview for the Jets head coaching position. I'd be surprised if he gets a head coaching job, but I would think he would be a name to watch for OC positions. And then another name that came up in the OC search last go-round, Tanner Engstrand, the passing game coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Now, I'll say this with Tanner. If Ben Johnson gets a head coaching job this cycle, like many people expect, then the natural replacement to be the next OC there in Detroit would be Tanner. But if not, for whatever reason, I would imagine that his name would be a popular one, and the Lions' offense has been so good this year in Detroit, he'd be a name to watch. Who should be the Seahawks' next offensive coordinator? I've gone through a few names. Obviously, there's plenty others that come to mind. Weigh in the comments section and let us know. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seahawks Today. Make sure and join us coming up later this afternoon for Seahawks Today Live. We will see you then.